All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We are looking at a massive, real-time evolution, a major economic pivot happening right this very second in Hyderabad, the capital of India's Telangana state. Chances are the medicines sitting in your bathroom cabinet right now have a direct link to this specific region. So today we're unpacking a really fascinating transition as this industrial powerhouse attempts to climb what's known as the pharma value chain. It's a huge story about ambition, economics, and ultimately the future of global medicine.
The sheer staggering scale of what we're dealing with here starts with billions of doses, literally billions. When we talk about Hyderabad, we are talking about a city that has completely cemented itself as the vaccine capital of the world. I mean, during recent global health crises, the absolute volume of life-saving injectables and treatments rolling off their assembly lines literally kept parts of the globe functioning. They have totally mastered the art of mass production, precision at an unimaginable scale. But as we're going to see, being the biggest doesn't always mean you hold all the cards.
Section 1. Pharmacy of the World. If we break down their current output, it perfectly illustrates our starting point, the status quo. The vast majority of what they do is act as the world's greatest printing press. They are churning out generic manufacturing and vaccines at just an unprecedented volume. Basically, they take established medicines, formulas that have already been discovered and proven to work, and they produce them efficiently, safely, and affordably for the entire world. But if you look very closely at the data, there's this tiny, almost microscopic sliver representing research and development, actual, brand new drug discovery. And that tiny piece of the pie, that's the exact reason the region is now looking to pivot.
Moving to Section 2, the value chain dilemma. So here's the thing. While being the pharmacy of the world absolutely pays the bills and employs millions of people, it represents an economic plateau. To really grasp this plateau, we've got to understand the pharma value chain. I want you to think of this kind of like the traditional book publishing industry. Being a generic manufacturer is basically like owning the printing press. You print millions of books, you do it flawlessly, and you make a few cents on every single copy. It's a rock-solid business. But where is the real money, the massive margins, and the lasting legacy? That belongs to the author who actually writes the bestseller. They hold the copyright. They own the intellectual property. In pharma, creating a new drug is writing the bestseller. And right now, Hyderabad is mostly just running the presses.
Let's compare these two directly, because it's a really stark contrast. On one hand, you have generic manufacturing. It's high volume, lower margin, replicating existing formulas. It's safe, it's predictable, and honestly, it's absolutely crucial for global health. But on the other hand, we have drug discovery. Incredibly high risk, but with massive revenue potential, because you're inventing completely new intellectual property. This is where pioneering science truly changes the world and drives exponential economic growth. The leaders in Telangana have looked at this equation and realized, you know what? To secure our future economy, we can't just stick to the safe route. We have to conquer the riskier, innovative side.
Section 3. The Drug Discovery Push.
And as highlighted in our source material, this isn't just some pipe dream from a few optimistic scientists. It's a concerted, government-backed policy shift. The quote reads, "Telangana plans drug discovery push to move Hyderabad up pharma value chain." Local policymakers are officially going all in on this massive transformation. They are publicly refusing to remain just a manufacturing hub. It's a really bold declaration to the established global pharma giants in places like the US and Europe, basically saying, hey, a new player is entering the high-stakes game of drug invention.
What we are witnessing here is a city's hero's journey playing out in real-time economics. They are leveling up. They're transitioning from reproducing the past to inventing the future. Going from mass production to pioneering innovation isn't just a simple tweak to a business model. It is a fundamental shift in regional identity. It means moving from a culture of extreme efficiency and replication to a culture that embraces the unknown, the totally messy process of trial and error, and the brilliant spark of scientific discovery.
Which brings us to Section 4, building an innovation ecosystem.
Of course, you can't just snap your fingers and mandate scientific breakthroughs, right? It requires building an entirely new foundation. They are transforming these ambitious policy goals into reality through three main pillars. Step 1. Upgrading infrastructure. This means moving way beyond massive factory floors and building state-of-the-art wet labs, AI-driven research centers, and highly specialized testing facilities. Step 2. Boosting R&D funding.
Innovation requires deep, deep pockets. They need to provide the grants, the venture capital, and the tax incentives to allow scientists to fail multiple times before they finally hit that breakthrough. And step 3, forging global partnerships. They know they can't do this in a vacuum. They're actively seeking international alliances with universities and global biotech firms to share knowledge and really accelerate their timeline.
Now let's pause and be real for a second, because it's vital to acknowledge the immense complexities here. This is not going to be easy. Think about the hurdles. Attracting specialized scientific talent, that is fiercely competitive. They're fighting with places like Boston, San Francisco, and London for the brightest minds on Earth. Then there's managing the incredibly high risks of drug trials. In generic manufacturing, you already know the drug works. But in discovery, a decade of work and billions of dollars can just evaporate in phase 3 clinical trials if the drug fails. That requires absolute nerves of steel. And finally, shifting the industrial mindset from pure volume to invention is a massive cultural hurdle. You're asking an industry that has been trained to completely eliminate errors to suddenly embrace the risky, error-prone process of experimentation.
And finally, Section 5, the global health impact.
So what does this all mean for you and me? Why should the global consumer care if the next blockbuster drug comes from Hyderabad instead of Boston or Basel? Well, right now, their affordable generics already have a massive global impact, literally keeping healthcare systems afloat. But if this innovation ecosystem succeeds, that future impact skyrockets. It means we get the absolute best of both worlds. Imagine a geographical powerhouse capable of inventing a critical life-saving new drug, and then immediately plugging it into the world's most efficient mass production machinery situated right next door. It could dramatically reduce the time it takes for a newly discovered cure to reach millions of patients worldwide. A real game changer.
So we're left with this massive, provocative question to wrap up this explainer. If the world's pharmacy successfully transitions into the world's laboratory, who holds the cure for the next pandemic? The balance of medical innovation is shifting right before our eyes. The days of all breakthrough medicines originating in just a few Western cities might seriously be coming to an end. Keep your eyes on Hyderabad. The medicines of tomorrow are being dreamed up there today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.